3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Remember our target is 400 reps, okay? For the 8 exercises. And I want more. Number 3, doing a squat. Body squat. Nothing complicated. 20 reps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm feeling energized today. How are you feeling? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, we're on time. We are on the clock. Hip dip. Others call it, is it the England Bridge? There are so many names. Nevertheless, this is what I'm looking for. There. There. Alright? Right and left is 1, right and left is 2. 20 reps. Let's get busy. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're still on the clock. Let's get going. Let's get busy. Are you feeling? You okay? Start jumps. Let's go. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. From there, mountain climbers, 20. You get? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are 10. 1, 2. Remember, for the mountain climbers, I want your shoulders parallel to your hands, okay? 1, 2. So let's go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God. This is awesome. Are you good? Remember, for us to hit the 400 reps, it means that each exercise we must perform not less than 50 reps. Let's go. Squats. 20 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hip dips. Or the London Bridge, yes. The other famous name for it is the London Bridge. Still the same workout. Let's go. 20 reps. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, these are HIIT workout. Okay, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Those are 40. So we are short of 10 to make it 50 for each and every workout. But because we still have time, still for shooting. Still shooting for. Let's do this. Let's do this. Start jumps. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Allah, how are you feeling? Squat, 20 reps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Hip hip, or the London Bridge, as you may call it. 20 reps. Oh, we're still on time. How do I allow me to end off? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Time to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God. How are you feeling? Back to start jumps. Still have time. Listen, there's no cheating. This is your body at the end of the day. Okay? Let's go. This is the only place you live in. Take your last breath. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my word. Take a 2 minutes breather. 2 minutes break. I started. Now, listen to this. Because I know you never cheat. And I know you're the type to push yourself. Now, our target was basically to hit 50 for the 4 exercises. Let me show you. We have hit 60, and for the start jumps, we have hit 75. Okay? So that is awesome. So 60 by 3, that's 180. Plus 75 gives us 255. Alright? So already, our 400 rep mark. We are shy of it by 145. If I got my math right, yes. Now that's how awesome it is to do something right and your body feels awesome. Let's go here. So we're coming back to another bunch of 4 exercises. Same, 10 minutes. Let's push ourselves. Let's see how many sets we're able to do. Backwards. Then you do the maths and see what our target today was. I know the workout was meant to be a HIIT workout for 400 reps, or the 400 rep workout, but I think we're already short of it by 145. You're doing awesome. Keep the good job up. Right, good job. I'm impressed. 18 seconds for our breather. Our first workout when we get back, we're going to start with the fast feet. You know the fast feet? Here. Okay, these are the fast feet. So, as our break nears to an end, that's the end. There goes the alarm. Our first exercise for the section B of our workout, we're starting with the fast feet. Let's go, we're here. 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Good job. Next exercise, we're doing high knees. So these are high knees. Okay, and if you can't jump as high, just bring it up. See if you want to hit your chest. Are we good? 20 reps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beginners on 10. Okay, minimum of 10. If you can push all the way to 20, even better. 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Awesome. Our next exercise, we're doing the plank walk-ins. The workouts, different names, but I'll show you what I mean. This is what I mean. You call it workout, plank walk-in, plank workout. Yeah, whatever the terminology you're familiar with, that is the exercise. If you're up for a challenge, you can give me a push-up. Okay? Even the Spider-Man knee raise here and here. Alright? So modify it to suit you. We're still on the 20 count rep. Let's get going. One. Beginners, you can put your knees down and take it easy. You can put your knees there, go, then come back up. Try and lift your body up, then back. I repeat again. There, put your knees down, walk, then walk back up, take your knees up, and there. So I imagine you're like on 5. If you're ahead of me, it's okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, is that 10? 10. Like I said, you can give it a different variation if you up for a challenge. Okay? 11. So this one is where I tell you to put your own sweetener. Make it sweet for your own taste buds. Is that 12? 13. 14. 15. 16, 17, 18, 19, last one, and 20. Our fourth exercise, we're doing the power jacks. So you're going to do a power jack. Your arms are going to be on top. You're going to be on a squat position. So it's going to be that. Okay, are we good? 20 reps. I repeat again the demo. It's here. Right? 20 reps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Keep your chest up. 4. Straight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Oh my. Whoa. How are you feeling? We're going back to the first one. Fast feet. We must need at least 2 sets. You ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. If you can do the fast feet, you can just go here. Okay. There. 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 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my energy levels are going down. How are yours? If yours are still high, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Oh my God. From there to the high knees, I gave a variation. If you can go here, or you take your knee up. There. There. Okay? 20 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So roll it back to walk out. Plank walk out. How are you feeling? Oh my God, I'm feeling it. While I shangwe na nderemo. Okay? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can even do the shoulder taps when you're at it there. Good. 7. So you ongeza mchuzi. 8. 9. 10. 10 to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Power jacks. Then you're done. Alright? Oh my. I think my body has really felt for that exercise. Let's go. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whew. Oh my, oh my. You see now? We're at 2 seconds to go. Let's go. Fast feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our timer is up. We have 2 minutes break. Now, let's sit there. Kalia miguu hapo, relax and breathe. Let's go. And out. Breathe in. And out. Hold it there. Hapo. Relax it there. I want to do some maths for us. I want us to know our target was 400 rep workout. Let's see how many reps we have managed to do. So we did 60 by 4 plus 15, which was 255. Good. Then the second set, we have managed to do 40 by 4, so 160 plus 15 plus 255. Oh my! Then hit our target for the day, which was 400 rep workout. We have surpassed it by 30. We have hit 430. Clap for yourself. That was awesome. That is you who just did that. Nobody else. Let's go here. Share this workout with your friends. Give them a good challenge. You know? It's body weight, no equipment required. We're trying to make it as fun as possible. You're able to build up on strength. Twist your neck the other side. You're able to build up on strength. You're able to push up your cardio. Your endurance level goes up. Your cardiovascular capacity goes up big time. And I think it makes our body more immune, especially to corona or any other respiratory disease. So Hongera, thank you for always keeping me and Eve company every morning, Monday to Friday, courtesy of NTV. We love you, and we know that these workouts are helping you at home every single day. Our break time is over, so we're going to do a stretch. We're going to do a small stretch, then breathe in, breathe out, and we can start our day. So these are 10-minute workout. Even if you only had 10 minutes today to work out with us, or even tomorrow, play these workouts for 10 minutes. We have kept the time. 10 minutes means 10 minutes. Do the exercise, go do your errands, come back home, replay the exercise, and your body is going to thank you later. So we're good? So we're here. Ooh. Let's go here. Good. The other side. I'm so psyched up. It's the beginning of the week. We're here. That is my target this week. Me and you, we have to hit 500 reps. Okay, we started very well. We are targeting 400, we have done 430. Let's build it up. By Friday, let's ensure we can hit 500. I believe in you. Twist your waistline there. Good, the other side. Good, shrug your shoulders. Back. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's go, breathe in. And out. Let's go, breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Out. Thank you so much for staying tuned to NTV Tizi Nyumbani. brought to you courtesy of NTV. Stay tuned, and I hope you have yourself a good day. Bye-bye.
In our next edition of Business Redefined, is the Kenya Revenue Authority too abrasive in going after companies accused of evading taxes?
We're dealing with hardcore taxpayers that have been given information about what they ought to pay, when to pay, and how to pay.
Plus, can a country whose economy is growing by single digits support a double-digit upward review of its tax revenue target every year?
We bring in more taxes, much more than what would be expected from the growth of the economy.
This and a lot more on Business Redefined.
We are Nation, Africa's independent media brand. We are committed to empowering all Africans, from the young to the old, from the curious to the educated, and from the heart of the cities to the rural areas. We are Nation. Join us, because if you want to get far, you do it together. Nation. Empower Africa.
This is NTV.
Greetings, East Africa. This is your world on this 14th day of September. Now, on this day, we talk about something you have probably thought of, wondered if or how it works, maybe even tried it out yourself and have the answers to it. I'm referring to married couples who work together. You know, like either work for the same company or run a business or businesses together. Yeah, that kind of working together. Now, this morning we shall hear from some married couples who have tried it and from a family therapist to help us understand the intricacies of the same. My name is Gladys Gashanja, and this is what else you can expect on this broadcast.
To others,
comparing is a fact.
utajua haujui.
How do couples who work together go about it? The fights, the laughs, the cries, and the money. We talk about that in a few. Tattoo artists seek legislation of their craft as a nut, not a medical procedure. Floods in Sudan are threatening to destroy a historical site. Prepare your taste buds. The world's largest factory is now open. Thank you again for joining us on this broadcast. Now, the question of the day to you, even as we understand how couples who work together, live together, would you consider working or doing business with your partner? We're talking about the wife, the husband, could be a boyfriend or even a girlfriend. If not, why? And if yes, would also like to know why you would consider working with your partner. Remember that hashtag New Normal on our social media handles, and you can also reach us on that number at the bottom of your screen, either calling us or you can text us. Now, for this moment, let's take a look at the effects of COVID-19 around the world. We're looking at the numbers, and so far they stand at 29,181,952 people who have been confirmed to have COVID-19. Those who have recovered from the same stands at 21,027,058 people. Now, those who have succumbed to the same, unfortunately, stands at 928,267. In Kenya, as per yesterday, the government numbers stood at 36,157,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. 23,067 people have recovered from the same, and unfortunately 622 have succumbed to COVID-19. Remember, the numbers change every single day, and right here on Your World, we shall keep you updated on the same as and when we receive them. Now, take a look at the stories making headlines around the world. Now, Ethiopia's Tigray region, controlled by the independent supporting Tigray People's Liberation Front, has adopted stricter coronavirus policies than the national government, like compulsory quarantine for most visitors from other areas, reflecting tensions between the region and the capital, Addis Ababa. The director of the Tigray Regional Health Bureau says support from the health ministry is very limited.
It was beyond our capacity. The reason was like the economical factor. So, we started quarantine in Tigray. And many people were like quarantined, especially daily laborers coming from Sudan to Humora, the western area for labor. Many people were like coming from Addis Ababa because of the stability, because of the peace and security. There is a support from the Ministry of Health, but very limited.
Elsewhere, rising Nile flood waters are threatening to swamp an ancient archaeological site in Sudan after some of the highest ever recorded river levels. Teams have set up sandbag walls and are pumping out water to prevent damage at the ruins of Al-Bajarawiya, once a royal city of the 2 millennia-old Meroitic Empire. Now, the area includes the famous Meroe Pyramids, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and according to archaeologists, the situation is currently under control, but if the level of the Nile continues to rise, well, the measures taken may not be sufficient. Sudanese authorities declared 3-month national state of emergency after record-breaking floods that have killed at least 99 people.
This one and this one, and we didn't affect anything. So, generally, the first building, the biggest one, was the main royal part, and it's like a big one, and it's like
Months of pounding rain in Niger have left 65 people and many others affected, and we're talking about 330,000, while several areas of the capital, Niamey, remain underwater. The Ministry of Humanitarian Action and Disaster Management says over 51 people had died when their home collapsed in the floods and 14 had drowned. The worst affected regions are Maradi in the central south of the country, Tavour and Tilaberi in the west, and also in the southwest. Niger is one of the world's driest countries and frequently suffers from spells of drought, but it also experiences months-long rainy seasons that have in recent years become more severe, consistent with the forecasts about climate change. Now, based on the ancient Coptic calendar, the Ethiopian calendar is 7 to 8 years behind the Gregorian calendar, and key dates fall at different times. Now, on September 11th, Ethiopians celebrated the start of a new year. Usually, livestock traders see their largest profits at this time of the year as Ethiopians observe the tradition of buying an animal to be slaughtered on New Year's morning. George Bezos, an anti-apartheid icon and renowned human rights lawyer who defended Nelson Mandela on treason charges for which he escaped the death penalty, died Wednesday, aged 92. President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the rights lawyer's passing during an online media briefing.
We are losing the people that were able to balance the country, like in the new generation that is going to be born, you get some people that will be able to live in the footsteps of those kind of people. They are our role models. At the very same time, they are our heroes.
It's a sad day. He did a lot of great work. I'm just grateful that he's being recognized for it. And I think that's a fair reflection of his life. I hope he's not the last of his era. I hope there's many more to come, because we need all South Africans to be as he was, to understand our differences and work together. It's as simple as that.
So back to our conversation of the day, couples that work together. Is this even possible? And if so, how exactly does it work? Well, to help us understand this conversation better and the intricacies of the same, in studio, Grace Kariuki, who is a psychologist but also a family therapist, George and Karemi Kagwe joining us virtually, who are content creators, Paul and Mary Gitari, who are PR practitioners, David and Rugoro Siyenyi coming virtually to us right here in Kenya. And across the borders, we are also joined by Matthew and Eleanor Nabuiso, who will be joining us from the 8 o'clock hour all the way from Uganda. Thank you all for joining us on this conversation. And I'll start off with you, Grace. Is it advisable to even work if you actually are in a relationship or married?
Well, you know, I'm glad to be here, first of all. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here. The quick answer to that is no. And why we say no is because you do need to be able to answer a few questions. Number one, you will need to have rules and roles, and you will need to understand how do you do this. Because if you don't, then you can imagine how that would look like if at the office we are at loggerhead, and then I'm not able to get it over, and we go home and there is no peace. And so couples who decide they are going to work together, they would have to have a very high level of skills to deal with people. How do you manage conflict? How do you communicate clearly? Because a lot of us have not really honed the skill of communicating directly and clearly. We tend to do a lot of passive-aggressive communication. And so, you would have to be really good at understanding yourself and understanding your partner. And also to understand that the dynamics of personality clashes and temperament clashes. Because if you're not very careful, you begin to make certain assumptions and conclusions about your partner, and you begin to create a picture in your head of who they are, their intentions, and their motivations. So it's something that you should not go into without really thinking through it.
So in short, we're saying it's not really for everyone, right?
No, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it, and couples, there are couples who have very high levels of emotional intelligence, who have gone through the drama stage of it. and they have come out stronger, and they have built great businesses together, and their relationships and their children, and they have done it greatly. Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from these couples. Karemi and George Kagwe, you guys have been working together for a while, content creating. How did you decide to go, or when did you decide to go this way?
Go. Ladies first. Okay, so thank you so much for the question. It was out of necessity. So we had come to a point where I was working in a different business. She was working on her own self as well and doing something different. And I shut down the business, and she also was not doing the same thing. And so we just decided to be working from home. That was about 1.5 years ago, 1.5 years ago. And yeah, so it was out of necessity in terms of looking for labor. So I was sourcing for labor for the entertainment pieces that I do. And instead of employing someone, I decided to employ my spouse. She didn't have any much say in it. The resources were right there at the house. So what do? You can't say no. So she started now being my camera person, started becoming the second character. And yeah, so that's how it started. Long story short.
Okay. Now, Karemi, or Rere, as they call you, you're sitting next to George thinking, okay, fine, I didn't have a choice, but here we are. How was the starting process?
Honestly, it was difficult because, like he explained, it's not something that we had more or less planned to do, but basically life happened. And so because he's really passionate about content creation and entertainment, so it didn't come naturally to me. It took a while for me to get into the hang of things, and honestly, I got more excited about it when I started seeing the returns. So when that happened, that now gave me the motivation to keep doing it with him, and to even learn more about content creation and how to make it better and how to take it further. So yes, eventually the team now started running smoothly, but honestly in the beginning it was a bit rough.
Okay, and you say the team started working smoothly. There are some pieces where I've seen you've even included your daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, everybody in the household is a resource. Every item and every human being that is in the household becomes a resource, as long as they find themselves that they love doing it and they want to do it. So I'm not saying here that I forced and coerced people and I was like, usipofanya hivi utatoka kwa hii nyumba. So it wasn't that kind of agreement, but it was a thing of, if you love doing it and you see the sense in it and you see the vision behind it, then it's a great thing to do. So including our daughter, so she has my personality and temperament. So she loves being in front of the camera. And so we decided just to include her as well. So the more the merrier, and it gives us more ideas to be able to execute as well.
Let's bring in Paul and Mary Gitari. You have been PR practitioners for some years now. How long has it been, and why did you choose this path together?
Well, we've been running the business for maybe 10 years now. And we started out with our friends, so we didn't necessarily pick each other to run in the business together. So it was a bigger agency that was offering 360 services, from advertising to media buying to now PR. So that's how it began, really.
Yeah, and then I was working somewhere else in an agency, and I wasn't too happy, and they were getting a bit busier. So she asked me to join her, and she was like, just come, we'll find something for you to do. And I joined, I think 11 years ago, and I'm still there.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has that been experience working together?
For me, it's been really good because it's like having a friend that you can trust, like this employee that is never going to run away from you. And I actually remember he came into the business when we were having our children, our twins. So it was important to have somebody solid who could make the same sort of decisions that you can make for the good of the household and the business as well. So it allows me time to do the things that I need to do as a mom. And he also has a really good head on his shoulders. So the trust is there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a very good opportunity to also join in and then kind of like keep on changing roles. So at a particular time, she was leading the business. Then I took over because of the seasons of our life. And so it really worked out. It made sense to actually do that together. So every time we had something to say, this is what happened today, this is what I'm doing, this is how I think we should go.
Aha, sounds very strategic. Okay, let's hear from David and Rugorosi. Jenny, you guys have also been at it for a while. What exactly are you into and why did you decide to go into it together?
I think I was very fascinated by what Ruguru used to do. She was an outdoor adventure practitioner, and I kind of enjoyed what she used to do. So whenever I had time, I would follow her to work. And that's kind of how it started. But we didn't immediately start working together until much later, after encouragement by some of our friends. I remember Angie Morenga of Just Angie kept telling us, you guys need to work together. And it's not until a few years ago when we started working together. And yeah, it's been interesting since.
Yeah, the story goes the same as the Kagwes. I needed someone to help me with work. Excuse me.
Marcel, to be
yeah, and he was there, so he came along.
Okay, and him, following you to work, helping you out. At some point, did you think, I think we need to see less of you?
You know, the good thing about our line of work is that you're not at work every day, Monday to Sunday. So even when you would work together, it's not that, it was every day we are seeing each other morning to evening. And at the time, he's always had different jobs. So he'll come with me on Saturday, he'll come with me different times. So we don't work in an office on a day-to-day basis. So that kind of, I guess, it makes the difference in terms of, in fact, in any case, because of the kids, sometimes it just feels like it's nice to go away alone. As opposed to, yeah.
Okay, now before we get...
5 years.
Yes, David?
It was not until 5 years when we actually moved into training together, when I went into training. Before that, it was just her doing the training. And for me, it was a work break, of course, while I was also building my relationship. And yeah, today we work together and we enjoy the benefits of that.
Now, I love the way you all are looking at each other with such affirmation and smiles on your face, but we all know there's been a drama phase. Now, before we get to it, Grace, you talked about emotional intelligence. Elaborate on this and why it is so important when a couple decides to work together.
Now, the whole thing about emotional intelligence is you become very self-aware, know who you are, understand your vulnerabilities, understand your thresholds, understand your strengths and celebrate them. And then the other thing is that you learn how to manage your emotions, manage your feelings, manage your whatever it is that you're going through, how you are triggered, what are your triggers, where emotions, negative emotions come on. How do you manage that? How do you manage your excitement? You know, when you win that, when you have won that that deal and you have all this money, how do you manage that? Because that can be a problem in your relationship. And then number 3, you want to learn the other person. You know, are you socially aware? Do you know who this person is? Do you know their values? Do you understand their beliefs? Do you know your differences? Do you appreciate those differences? Do you appreciate their strengths? So understand the other person. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is to be able to understand how the other person experiences you It is not enough just to know them, but you also need to know how they feel about you, how they experience you. In that interaction, how did they come out of that interaction? Did they feel empowered? Did they feel put down? What did they feel? Did they feel encouraged and inspired? In emotional intelligence, we also talk about when you are you're communicating with people and when you are interacting with people, you need to inspire them and influence them. Now, couples working together, you can imagine, you don't want to be demanding for somebody to do anything. You want to influence them, let them own it, and walk with you. So if you do those three things, then you are going to have a healthy interpersonal interaction with a person. And then the other thing that you're going to have is common goals. We know very well in married couples and couples who are successful, one of the things that they do well is to agree. Even when they disagree, they are agreeable. So they don't disrespect each other. They don't do the character assassination. They are not personal. They don't get personal with each other. They stay on what is on the table, and they offer respect and acceptance even when there is a conflict. So emotional intelligence is so important because then it leads to what we call relational intelligence. Now I know how to deal with people. I'm listening, but I'm listening with my heart, and I'm hearing where you are coming from. Yeah.
Okay, so George and Karemi Kagwe, it started off as a necessity and now you're into it. These rough waters, describe them, Karemi.
Well, for us, not only when this is something we experienced even when we got married, the differences in our personalities. When George needs to get something done, he's very, what's the word? His personality type is choleric. So he's the kind of person who needs to get things done however they get done. And most times I would feel, my friend, you know, I'm a person, you need to speak to me in a certain way for me to be able to understand what this task is, or be more patient or kinder. And yes, those are the rough patches we had to go through, and now we needed to start having those conversations that you may see it that way, but I need to be spoken to in a different way for me to be more effective or for me to be more productive. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And seeing
that was a big challenge for me.
And seeing that the idea was from, George, did he ever give you room to give alternate ideas?
Alternate ideas in terms of
like improve the idea, say this I don't think would work, maybe we should try this?
Definitely. One of the things I like about him is he's very good at taking criticism. So I was able to give feedback and yeah, so we were able to work well whenever I had a different idea or a different way of doing the content, or giving him even ideas of what he should say. And yeah, etc., etc. He's laughing. What?
Because he has a different version. George, what's your version of these waters?
My version is very simple. As a football team, when you go out, you're going out to win. And that's how I tackle everything in life. We are out to win, right? So my lovely wife here would, being probably a striker, wants the coach to go out and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, just score for us a goal today. And,
yes.
Things will be quite nice after. You'll get a reward. Yeah. So, and my personality type, like you've heard, I'm akin to a commander in chief, where I'm like, guys, you know the mission, you know the vision here, what we're supposed to achieve. Let's go out and do it, and let's do it well. Let's leave everything on the pitch. Let's come back tired, and we will get rewarded afterwards, either in monetary value or a good lifestyle thereafter, So that for me has always been how I do and execute everything that I do. So, but now working with my wife here, she's a melancholy kind of personality, so she has to be coached every day. Let's do it. Go out. You are the one. It's the tiger in you. And so sometimes it's I don't have the the ability or the time or the patience for that. And so, yeah, so there'll be conflict there. So sometimes I'll do double roles in one day and she'll be fine with it. She'll be like, okay, you do, no problem.
Okay, now I see Paul and Mary Gitari laughing because I think there might be a similarity in your own setup.
Completely.
Okay.
I'm choleric. So, and my lovely wife here, my dear wife here is phlegmatic. So I'm always like, let's go and get it done. What is it? We have to. There are things we need to get done. Like today, like, let's finish this. And her, she'll be like, okay, let's go get it done. But then she will start at 4 p.m., towards the end of the day. And I'm like, Madam, we had a whole day. Why are we doing this now? Mm-hmm. And I think earlier on in the business, it actually brought conflict because I wasn't patient. So I had to learn how to be patient. And exactly what Kago is saying, coaching, psyching her up, let's go do this, pushing her, making sure she's out of the door, into the car, on time for the meetings. And for me, at that point in time, and this was a bit early in the business, so we had twin boys plus the business. So it sounded like we had triplets.
Yeah.
And so these triplets had to be managed all the time. But through it, though, she also saw what I was trying to do. So now we've learned a bit more. So I have understood her process. She's understood mine. Now, at least we, when you form a team, we are at the norming stage. We have understood how everyone works. So then there's someone, and then there's somebody who's saying, okay, let me start.
Okay, now for you, Mary, is the story the same or you have a different version?
It always sounds so different when somebody else is saying it,
Yeah.
Your spouse. But I think, to be honest, a lot of my success is anchored on how much support I receive from the home front. And I always, sometimes you get into those meetings that just put you down in the dumps, or you lose a client, or you have a really bad day. Mm-hmm. And just knowing that somebody is there to pull you up back into position, into the striker position, it's really important. Sometimes you may not appreciate it at that point, but you find that when you look back, you're really grateful that you have somebody in your corner who's always cheering for you and wants the very best for you, for your home, for the business. So, yeah.
Okay, let's bring in David and Rogoro. Has it always been easy, even though you're not in each other's faces all the time? Or have you had those times where you're leaving the house and you look at the other person for usinifuate?
Well, it's not always been easy. It's not as bad as usinifuate. But I think for me it was that he came into my line of work, so I had to train him, and that was a bit odd. So other people, you can tell, this is what we talked about, this is what you need to do. What was that you were trying to say in that debrief session? With him, you have to be kinder because, you're still gonna go home together. So that for me was the challenge. Before I was, before you could become an excellent team building trainer, I had to actually try and coach him through the entire thing. And that became a bit interesting at some point.
Hey,
yeah,
David.
Especially because, so especially because she's choleric sanguine, and I'm is it melancholy or phlegmatic sanguine? So I love people, but I'm more nice to people. And Harsh is like, we're getting this stuff done. And also my style of training is more bringing people closer. So I'm more the coaching type. Let's engage. Let's get the people to really understand what we are trying to do with them. And at some point I had to actually just understand this is her space and allow her to do her and to do her own style the way she knows it. And I'll just also allow myself to learn and not just come from that point of I'm pushing, this is how I think we should do it, this is how I think we should go. So that had its own interesting times. But we kind of managed to flow through it. It didn't go fireworksy, but it was nice.
Okay, we're talking about all these personality types. I think, Grace, it's important to break it down. What's a phlegmatic, a melancholic, a sanguine, and a choleric?
Right, and that comes right. We've been in my social media. We've been really talking about the 4 temperaments, and it's been very, very invigorating to just hear people talk about how they deal with life from that aspect. And we have had several classes on Zoom just talking about who are you as a melancholic and who are you as a choleric. So this past Saturday we talked about the cholerics came on and we were talking about them. And the choleric, they have 2 needs. The one need is to get the task done, and the other need is for them to get results. So they are not thinking about the melancholic, who is thinking about the intricacies of all that. How do you get their plans, and everything has to fall in place. So they will take more time. They are thinking through things. They are looking at all the mistakes and analyzing everything. While when you go to the phlegmatic is laid back. We'll get to it when we do. They will come up with plans, but they may not implement them. So they are late, they are procrastinating, and they don't have the urgency to do it. And then you have the sanguine. The sanguine is very social. They love the fun. They will forget the task and really spend time talking to people and being very happy. So you can imagine if you are, and I love these couples that we have on here. They are very self-aware. They already know themselves. They know their partners, and they have found ways to negotiate and to work together and to agree and to be able to celebrate the strengths. I love the way David said that he is willing for his wife to train him, and these are the things that a lot of our couples are struggling with. So these temperaments are very important for us to know, not so that we can say, this is the way I am, you just have to deal with me. No, so that we can grow. We can be able to put why do I act this way? Why is it that when my spouse talks to me, I feel these things that rise up to me? Then I know it's because the tone of voice he uses usually makes me feel a certain way. And so I'm not hearing him. I'm only hearing what I'm experiencing from him. And then I need to be able to communicate that. He won't read my mind. She won't be able to read my mind. So instead of going into the passive-aggressive area where I'm down, I'm not talking to you, they can tell something is wrong, I come out and say, hey, it's because of what you said earlier, the tone of voice that you used. That is what caused me to feel down, and I wish that you would speak to me in a better way. So when we are talking about temperaments and personalities, it's so important. It's the core of relationships, healthy relationships. Understand yourself, understand the other person, appreciate one another, and then learn the skills of negotiating, social skills, life skills, how to communicate, those kinds of things.
Now, guys, let's talk about taking criticism or not. Now, this is where it gets a little bit rougher. Karemi and George, how do we handle this in your relationship?
Now, the good thing with, I think I'll start by saying the good thing with working together is, as a couple, is it keeps your marriage in check and your friendship in check. So the number one thing is we have to be friends first. And I can't be a good friend if I can't take criticism, or if I can't give it. So that's an agreement we've had to have, both of us. Of course, in the beginning stages, it's very hard to hear from your spouse that, hey, you're very hard, or you just like results, you're not looking at the intricacies of everything that we're doing, or you didn't execute that very well. And I'm like, what? I'm the professional here. So, so it's very hard to listen to that. But then again, it's good to have in mind that this person is in your team, is on your side, and wants the very best to come out of you. And so I've had to be able to just ensure that, for my side, it's hard to take criticism because I'm a sanguine, I'm a choleric, I'm going, I'm on high speed.
Yeah.
Then someone will just come and put a barricade, stop now, listen to what I'm saying, change this, change that. But I've had to just take it in because, she wants the very best to come out of it. And most times she's proven right because her ideas are the ones that flourish and mine tank. So, as a wise person, you have to really come in and listen carefully.
Okay, and Karemi, there are those moments where you are advised that when he refuses to listen, let him make the mistake, but be there to support him when he turns around. How are those moments for you?
Those are not the best moments. You have to. I usually have to have a meeting with myself and think about the reasons why he wants to do whatever it is he wants to do, and also pray for him. But thankfully, in the content creation experiences we've had, I haven't had situations like that where I feel like he's doing something he should not. So I used to see that a lot when he was running the business, the one that closed the year before. But I think those lessons taught him to be wiser now. So I'm thankful for that. He's been making very wise decisions when it comes to content creation. So that one I'm thankful for. But yes, like you said, sometimes it's wise to just sit back and watch the whole process happen, because everyone is also, learning and is on a journey of growth. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to watch. But, yes.
Okay, Mary, you are the phlegmatic in the relationship. Those moments where you have to let Paul make the mistakes in silence, how do they look like for you?
They're very difficult because, being a wife and a woman, let me just say being a woman, sometimes you can see, you have a gut instinct that tells you that something is not going to work out. And the man cannot see what you're saying, and sometimes you don't have all the words to explain it, that it's not gonna work. So you find there's lots of drinking water, breathing,
biting your tongue.
all the skills that Terry is talking about, So you find that you want to go back. It's also good to have someone to talk to. I find that at least in our organization, we have different age groups. So there's an older woman that I end up going to talk to, who is like a mentor to me, but we work together. So I can pull back and say, hey, what is going on? So having an outlet is very important as you're watching, because you need to process all the feelings, all the emotions, so that you don't, first of all, make a premature outburst. You wait for the time for you to be able to communicate your feelings in a way that is clear and is result-oriented. So it doesn't help when you're just outbursting for the sake of doing it. Yeah.
Okay, and Paul, are you receptive to some of this, ideas she comes with or advice?
Sometimes I am. There are times I have agreed and said, okay, I think I hear what you're saying, let's try it your way. The other times I've just gone with what I'm thinking, and not all the time has it worked out. Sometimes I come back and say, okay, we have that out of my system. We're done with it. We're never doing that again. Okay, let's come back. You are right, but I didn't listen. I went and did it. And she was like, okay, now that you've done it, you've learned a way not to do it. We can't do that again. So at least you've gone down that road. You've closed that gate. You've seen that road is not leading you anywhere. Come back. Let's think about it. What do we need to do? And I like that part, though. Now, over time, I've learned, if you take the advice, sometimes there's a lot of value, because she's also not coming from a bad place. She's not saying don't do it because she just doesn't want you to shine. She's saying don't do it because I don't think it's going to work. And here are the reasons.
Okay, and David, you're the one dealing with a wife who is a choleric, and she's a woman. How does that work for you?
Let me tell you, Gladys, this is for drama. First of all, of course, she when Grace was talking about the tone, yes. I was the guy on the receiving end of the tone. I'm like, for real? As in, and then being a phlegmatic, I would go like, okay, I'm sure she's coming from somewhere. So let me see how we can make that work. So I found myself swallowing a lot, like Mary is saying. I found myself swallowing a lot. And then by the time it would come out, it would not be nice. And yeah, I would realize it was not nice. But yeah, so there was a lot of times of just swallowing and taking in, and even just the things of just thinking, why would she even say that? Does she even understand I'm a person? But anyway, so I don't know what her perspective is.
Okay, Rogoro, you're the wife, submission, respect to the husband, but you seem to have the stronger personality. How does that work for you?
You know, I think when we are at work, you know, there's no time to start being nice and we talked about what the client is there. We're getting the job done. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes in katika ile harakati of getting the job done, yeah, sometimes, you know, you just think, let's get this done, let's do this, let's that. The tone might be not very nice. So we'll apologize at home after we've sorted the client.
Oh, wow. I love the fact that everybody's talking about their experiences and how they have learned to deal with the same. And Grace, something that Mary mentioned, the importance of having an outlet.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Right. Self-care will have to be priority. And because you need to be able to be a healthy person yourself, one of the signs that you're not a very healthy person is when your happiness depends on this person that you're with. Your spouse is your world. If you're not feeling loved, then you get yourself. If there is a conflict, then you get yourself into the dumps. He doesn't love me. She doesn't love me. She doesn't care about me. So you need to be able to find someone else or another source of social support where you can vent. When I was listening to Mary, I thought about what she said, the goal of the outburst. What is it for? Are you venting or are you trying to look for a solution? So that now if you're looking for a solution, you cannot outburst because you won't, people will be hearing your outburst. They won't be hearing the things that you are actually talking about. So you want to have self-care, take care of yourself. So if things like David said, you know, unanyamazia tu, you are a flag. If you're a flag, unanyamazia tu. So it is good for you to have a place where you are able to outlet, and usually that is another person who can listen to you. We are beings who like to communicate and who like to be accepted. So if I have been with my spouse and I have felt rejection because of the way they talked to me, I need to have a safe space where I normally go and talk. Me, I'm a phlegmatic melancholic. So I'm not very open to people, but I have a journal. That is my place. That is the place I go to be able to process what I'm feeling. But then I have had to learn how to communicate that to the person who made me feel that. So I need to go process it first, because first of all, I am very aroused when they are doing that. So I'm feeling afraid. So I feel afraid. You know, but you see, the choleric and the sanguine will not feel afraid. They will feel defensive, you see. So me, I'm not, because I'm feeling afraid, I will want to hide. But the choleric, when they feel triggered, when they feel attacked, they will want to fight back. They want to take back the control they feel they have lost. Understanding this about ourselves is very important, so that you know, I can listen and I will say, I'll be in a position where I can be able to say, Han, I hear you and I hear where you are coming from. Right now, I need a break. I need to go into my own space. So if I walk away, please, I'm not protesting. So communication becomes so important that you are able to find ways to tell your partner why you are walking away, so that you just don't walk away. And they also begin to think the choleric will come after you. You dare to walk away from me? Yeah. We are talking about this thing. We need to fix it right now. And so the choleric also, to be able to respect that the phlegmatic, melancholic, that line of the temperaments, they will need time. They need to process what's going on. Now, the phlegmatic will need to learn how to process, but then to come back and communicate.
And not take too long.
And not take too long. And then the choleric, as I'm listening, the choleric also needs to know how to repair. So you need to be able, after work, you need to be able, at least maybe once a week, the two of you need to sit down and do repairing of the relationship. What have we, this is what we have accomplished this week. So the choleric is yay, yay, yay. And the melancholic phlegmatic is thinking, oh my goodness, and my heart is broken. So we need to kind of sit down and say, hey, what went good, what didn't go. And then there is a time now to talk about the emotions, the feelings, and the choleric needs to give that time to the phlegmatic melancholic. Yeah.
Okay, now guys, I'd like to understand, how do you separate family issues and work issues? For you, Karemi and George, the home is also the office most times. So how do you separate these two things?
That's a very good question. Especially now, because we've been working from home because of the kind of work we do. We don't necessarily need an office, or we don't necessarily need to go anywhere to do the content. We've just found that everything has sort of, I think it is just, there's been a flow, because we know what we usually have, like meetings, official meetings, where we plan out the week and decide this is what we need to do and this is how we need to do it. So when I need to be a mom, I'm going to be a mom. When I need to be a wife, I'm going to be a wife. When we are shooting, we are shooting. So it's because we have set up structures in terms of there's a time for everything in the household. So yeah, that's how we've managed to separate everything.
Yeah. Okay. So there's because we do lots of things, there's had to be a way we create structure, just like in a corporate environment where you have to create structure. We have been forced to really come in and create structure, where we do the entertainment business. We have another business, a family business that we run, where we do integrated digital services. So we also have to create structure, because every single day there are things and tasks to accomplish. Even in the home, we have to create structure. I remember when I started and we started working from home, there was a moment and a period because of shutting down the business where finances were not that good. So we had to now tell our living domestic manager, just to leave. And so that meant now my lovely wife sat me down and is like, now we have to separate the tasks and the chores in the house. So those are things that we also had to do as well. And so we've structured everything. We know what time we have to do, if it's homeschooling as well for our daughter, what time we have to do that until we're able to bring someone in to do that. And so structure has had to be accomplished, where we separate all things and everything. So when we wake up, probably you do homely domestic issues, marriage issues and the home issues. Then at a certain time, we have to check in and do meetings, execute on work. Different business meetings, have to go do errands and runs. So we've been able to create that structure, and thus far it has worked. Of course, at times there is conflict, because now you know how melancholics are. They don't feel like sometimes, and you have to accommodate that.
I'm tired.
But they're tired, so you have to again come in and coach them and give them the boost.
Okay. All right. Now, a quick one. You mentioned about finances. Now, how do you separate this two? When one tap dries out, how do you now say, okay, fine, this is for us, but we can spare some for the other side?
Yeah, so maybe I can touch on that. We've had to diversify, how revenues come in, and that's why we probably have the family business, this entertainment side as well. And then within even this entertainment side, we've had to diversify how income comes in through different channels. But the most important thing is she's privy to that. So again, keeps our marriage in check. So I'm not there keeping a secret account with a stash somewhere, and she's also not doing the same with a secret stash somewhere. So we all know which tap is about to run dry, or which one we need to also add and plumb it in. So what we do now is we are able to come and consolidate all finances at the end of the month and say, okay, this is what we expect to come in. What do we need to plan for? First of all, for the home, yes, but also for the business. What do we need to invest in? Do we need to buy more gear? Do we need to, invest in something different, get into another line of business and stuff like that? So that's what we are able to do now within our marriage and within our business. So I'm kind of good in that, but my wife is better.
Yes.
Well in. Paul and Mary, how do you handle the finances and separate work and marriage?
Thank you, Gladys. This one is a hard one for us because I think finances has been really tight. When you run a business, people always think that you're doing very well, and sometimes that perception makes it very hard even for you to ask for help. And therefore, because they think if your business, if you have 5 clients, each of them is paying you, they do the math for you. And the hardest part has been accepting that we have to separate what is in the business and what goes to the home. So we earn a salary and we are the last ones to be paid by the business. So we have had to be realistic about what we can have in the home and the fact that we must invest in the business so that it continues to run and to take care of us. So we've always had a very long-term view and thought 20 years from now, we're putting in our most productive years into this business so that it can actually work for us. So while other people are investing in a lot of land and in a lot of shares and all those things, I like what George is saying, diversification, but for us, we've had to see these as our seed years, our planting years, so that later on, 10 years from now, we can be able to have that sort of income that our business is giving us that will help us in the future. So understanding that has been really important. And there are some things the business does do for us, but those are designated. And we also have an accountant who helps us to do the mathematics and say, guys, we're not going to be able to pay this amount. So we actually receive one income. I would like to say that from the business. We don't each of us take a chunk from the business and say, yeah, this is for our lifestyle and for our home. Sometimes it's very hurtful because you've made money, but you have to pay out a lot more to keep the business running, and you have very little for the home. So those are the dynamics that make it difficult. Yeah.
Now, for you, Paul, even as you're planning all this and you know how the money is coming in, coming out, and there is that one thing you've wanted that month and Mama is saying no. How do you take that? How do you handle that?
I think it's, so we've had an agreement so that then how do we fit it into the budget so that it makes sense? And she's laughing because she knows there are those golf things I want and I've put them over there, but they're always at the bottom of the budget. Pesa ikipatikana tutaongeza hii. And then you can't all do it at the same time because sometimes you need to also, if you look forward and say, okay, what do we see coming in the next 6 months, next 12 months? How have we planned for it? Can we then wait a bit so that then we are able to continue living because the situation changes? And this year is a very good example. March, COVID happened, everything changed. But there are certain decisions we had made last year that then, in light of this, made a lot of sense. And so we were able to then say, you see all these things that we didn't do, and they're here rolling in our budget because of the fact that we think our income will be impacted. Let's keep them at the bottom. As and when something comes up or we receive more money or we're able to diversify a few other sources of revenue, we will add it. And so having those discussions in advance, being able to say, this is what I want, but I can wait. Let me see when I can actually get it.
Okay.
And I think just to point out to another question you asked, how do we separate family and business? Yeah. I think for me, one of the things we discovered is we used to live in Limuru, so we had a very long commute. That commute just finished all the business. So by the time you got home, it was family. So now we use the commute as a way of getting out of the office. By the time you drive down Thika Road, because we live down Thika Road, you finished with what you're doing in business, and now you're on family time.
Okay, being intentional about it. Okay, we're about to take a short break on Your World. When we come back, we'll hear from Ruguru and Sijenyu in as far as how they handle finances and separate the marriage and business factor. But I hear you're talking to us, even as we asked you that question of the day, would you consider working with your partner? It could be your wife, husband, girlfriend, or boyfriend. And a lot of you are reacting to this. If we can have them up. Silas Osano says, yes, I would, but I'd have to build trust first. Yes, we were told this is so important. Halton Moibale says, no, never. She can do hers and I do mine. Okay, clearly you are not the kind of things it can work. Kisio says, yes, but things need to be considered. I hear you, Kisio. Hassan says, yes, except a girlfriend. Well, I guess there's a criteria of who you can do these things with. Eric Okari says, already doing it. Why not? There is somebody who's already bought to it. Patrick Moturi says, I won't dare to work together with my wife because in a situation where I serve a customer the opposite gender, she will start questioning me. Ni nini mnatongozana na huyu mama? And imagine is a young lady who is bargaining, but due to jealousy, your wife ameitwa mama. Again, personalities matter. Kiprono says, no, we can just help each other with ideas and even help with financial aid, but not as business partners. Kila mtu anajijua. Jack says, no, I tried it and it was a disaster. Let everyone run his or her own business. Jack, we hear you. Stanley Nawata says, olisikia wapi? Can't try, won't try. Stanley, we hear you. Samuel Virie says, life happens. Experience has taught me not to be so rigid on some things. Yeah, at times some things you say no to, you might just have to change your mind. Moses Momburi says, yes, currently working together and so far so good, no problem. Boogie says, yeah, if they had good business minds, why not? We hear you. Ndirito Karaoke says, unfortunately, I have neither a business nor a partner. My friend, tembea kama wewe. Tall Keva says, unless it's a family business, otherwise, no. Interesting perspective, Kevo. Now, last one here from Steve, who says, absolutely no, it's stressing, I tell you. I have been there. Well, those are your experiences. Keep talking to us. Would you consider getting into business or work together with your partner? And remember that hashtag is new normal. We'll be right back.
You have been chosen to come here because you are the best journalism students in Kenya.
If your content is not interesting to look at, don't waste my time.
You submitted your work late. Why?
Each and everything that we used had problem.
No excuses in the newsroom.
Just let it go because it's a teamwork, for heaven's sake.
I think you should go home.
What if you don't agree with what he said? Will you say, So keep that. tumechoka, tumebit, tumezunguka.
Ni noma.
Did you know there's a laundry bar soap that can help save you time, water, and money? You save by not having to use multiple products. And you only rinse once. For a laundry soap that can help save you time, water, and money, try Whitewash Extra. Brand power, helping you buy better.
As we take personal responsibility and adhere to all government regulations and guidelines in relation to coronavirus, may we remember that God is faithful. He will not allow us to be pressed, crushed, and perplexed by the epidemic to a point of total destruction. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 9 teaches us that we may be hard pressed on every side, but shall not be crushed. We can be persecuted, but shall not be abandoned. We can be struck down, but shall not be destroyed.
It's time to kickstart your smart and give your brain a mega boost with DSTV. There's oodles of mind-blowing channels for kids young all together now. To get your knowledge workout, get connected to DSTV.
Thank you for staying with Your World. My name is Gladys Gashanja. As we talk about couples who work together, learning lessons for many of them, even as we hear their experiences right here this morning, and as we also get counsel from Grace Kariuki, who is a psychologist and also a family therapist. And before we went to break, I mentioned I'd like to hear from the Sijenyis how you deal with finances and how you separate marriage and work.
For us, it has not been a too difficult a task to separate it, because the entire time that we have worked together, anyone who knows David Sijenyi knows he does 7 things at the same time. So, so the entire time that we've been working together, it's always been, we've worked together when I needed him to help me with some work. Or if we had a project together, which has happened before, we pitched for projects together. But because of how many other things he does, it almost seems like it's just one of those things that we need to do in the course of the day. And then one of the things that we try and do is we try and work and not work in the evening. So like when we get home, not work in the evening. But because, also I have tried over the years not to do as much as he's doing 7 things at the same time. That way, at least there's somebody in the home. when he's very busy with the 7 things, at least there's somebody in the home in terms of the kids and being able to handle the home. So we've managed to sort of just fix our life into whatever it is that we're doing. So even when we've had to do a day together, we'll go to the supermarket to shop for the house, then go for a meeting after that. Then he'll drop me off and go for something else. And we kind of just mesh our day together into a day that works. So, yeah.
Okay, Sijeni, let's talk about finances. This one gets really tricky. And I had asked Paul earlier, you could really want somebody or something and you have a strong personality for a wife. How does that work out for you?
So in terms of finances, we've our first few years were and have been very difficult. In fact, if I was to say of the 12 or so years we've been married, most of those years have been in some kind of financial difficulty. Of course, being in business, most of the time being in business or some sort of business, finances go up, finances go down, finances go up and down. And of course, there's been disagreements and arguments about how we should manage the finances at different times, but we've always found a balance that no matter what's happening, we have to make it work. And I think that has then kept us moving forward smoothly, even in very difficult times. I feel we are now entering a space, and I was telling someone yesterday, COVID-19 has kind of been a blessing in disguise, that we are now entering a space where we've had to rethink the way we do business. After years of working separately and doing projects, one-off projects together, 2-3 years ago, we started working together consistently. And last year, when we put our minds together, we plugged into this project that was probably one of the best grossing projects in the time that we've ever worked together. So managing the finances has been rough. I think I've taken most of the leadership in the managing of the finances, but we are now in a space where we are saying, okay, maybe we need additional help from outside, externally, to then be able to just get these finances right. Again, because as more money comes in, if you don't have any proper systems around managing that, then you can be assured you'll be landing in some of those problems you're saying. Mzee ameenda, he's found someone else, and Madame is doing her own thing. Everyone is doing their own thing with their own money, and stuff is just getting rough.
I hear you. And Grace, I think this is so crucial to talk about.
Right.
How do you manage finances? First in a marriage, and now these two people are working together.
Right.
How do you go about it?
Now, the blessing that we have with this informational age is that there is a lot of research on how to do relationships now. Now, I didn't know until in the recent years that there is something called money personalities. And so people, as they are going, as we are getting to know ourselves, who we are as personality-wise, temperament-wise, we also need to understand, who am I when it comes to money? Is money for me a freedom, or is it a security? Am I a spender, or am I a hoarder? Am I the amasa, the one who, gets all of it and wants to keep it somewhere? Or am I the person who gets and gives? I believe that I'm not supposed to be well off. I get it. It pays my bills, but then the rest of it I give away. So if you can imagine, if you have a partner who has a different money personality from yours, you're going to clash, and you are not understanding why you are clashing. And so it's important for each couple to be able, first of all, personally know who you are when it comes to money, what money means to you, and then for your spouse, what their money personality is. And then this is the place where you need to get a professional to sit with you guys and train you how to do money. Because I have a master's degree. I don't know how to do money. So I need an accountant. I need a financial person who understands that. And that's why I'm saying we are living in the age of information. We should not be struggling. So we need to call a financial person and say, hey, we are struggling here. Could you help us? Because money is very emotional. It's an issue of power and control. And so if we are not careful, we are going to be having power struggles. There will be issues of inequity. So where I'm feeling like we are partners, we are directors in this business together, but I'm feeling that there is no equity between us. And that's why I like what they have said, that we have a salary, that we sit down and we have structures, even with the money. How do we do this money? Because if we don't do that, we are going to clash a lot. But it's not because we are not good people or good business people. It's because we don't have the skills, the structures to be able to do that. So call in a professional and help them help you structure your money, starting with that understanding of yourself. Who am I as a money person? How do I see it? And then the other thing that we need to also understand as we are listening to these couples, there is something that is running through them, and that is communication. They are very good communicators, and they are not afraid to be vulnerable to one another. They are not also afraid to accept that this is, yes, I know this is my weakness. I understand it, and I allow you to influence me so that together we can move forward. And also to understand yourself. When you feel, like I was talking about self-care, be very aware of what you're feeling so that you can deal with it. And you can deal with that through stress management, psychological stress management, journaling, going for yoga, doing your morning routine. Have a you time where you de-stress, where you declutter, so that now when you show up in the business, in your relationship, you're showing up the healthy you. You're not showing up carrying all this stuff from yesterday and the day before. When your spouse is already here, you are showing up like it was yesterday, and your spouse is here, you are going to clash. So it is important to do that. So with the money issue, I want to also encourage couples to do the budgeting and to understand. Now, we say that people ask, should we have joint accounts? You know, those are kind of mundane discussions about money, but they are very important. So I usually say you can go one of three ways. You can have separate monies. You know, you communicate, my pay slip or whatever money we have. So the financial intimacy where I am vulnerable to you about what money I have, that you can go that way, but you manage your money separately, which means that you have different roles to play. These are the bills you pay, and these are the bills you pay. We never ask each other, where did your money go? And then we have agreed how we are going to build, whatever investments that we need to do. What is our future, our financial future? So we have joint financial goals, but then we are separate when it comes to who pays what. Then you have the couple who like to do everything together. So those are the couples who will want to have joint accounts. So they have one, when your salary comes, it's, whatever they do. But then they also have to structure that. So who manages the money? Who is the good person? Not good, but who is better
with money.
with money? And we agree. Then we also need to think about the third one. Now it goes off my mind, but I think we get the idea. Figure out what works for you, and also be very careful about what you have been socialized and conditioned to think, so that you undo that and build your own culture as a couple.
Very well said. Now, Paul and Mary, I need to let you go, but before I do, in this pandemic, what are the things you've learned about each other and probably will have made you better for it going forward?
Okay, so the one thing I've learned about my husband, Mr. Gitari here, is that he can be very homebound. What I mean by that is he was very, when we said we are COVID, when the president issued out all the rules and everything, the restrictions, I was willing to continue going to work, and I was like, let's go see our parents. And he was like, no. We have been given instructions. We are staying in the house. We are not going anywhere. We are going with masks. This is the sanitizer. I was like, what? So I had to be put in check. And I learned that he's actually very, he was doing this because he cared about our family. And he stayed home. He worked with the children. He was the one doing homeschooling. I was like, pulling my hair. My children are playing with cats as they are learning in school. I was like, no way, I cannot do this. So I used to be the one who's running away out of the house, looking for excuses to leave. But he was very grounded and he was willing to stay the course. Yeah.
Okay, and you, Paul?
I think I've also discovered First of all, I didn't ever think I could work from home. COVID has taught me other things. It's very possible. I think the second thing is just to also look at how our schedule works. Sometimes we're restricted to an 8 to 5, but my lovely wife here works very well in the deep of the night. So she'll start working at 10 p.m. until 3 in the morning. And I think just looking at that schedule and giving her that time, COVID has been an eye-opener, because now she gets a lot more done, and she will be, in the morning, she'll take it slowly, and then she will now start looking at work a bit later on in the day. But it helps her also go with her process, so that she's able to then have a very clear mind and set time that she can actually work. And then managing our 3 boys who are very excited. Sometimes just going outside to play football with them in the middle of the day, so that then they have a bit of exercise, a bit of fresh air. And then when they come back, we all get back to work, and they get back to their schoolwork.
Indeed, practice does make perfect. You seem to have found your way. Paul and Mary Gitari, who are PR practitioners, thank you for your time and being candid about your marriage, or rather, marriage and working together and your life together. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Now, I'll cross over to George and Karimi. How do you handle, or how have you been able to handle this season, and what has it brought out of the two of you that you are better for it?
For us, I think it's been what COVID brought was a form of vindication, because by the time COVID had come, for 1 year we had been working from home. We had been toying around with the whole idea of having to homeschool our daughter. I mean, every time we used to take her to school, we were like, man, can't we just do something different? The world is changing. Having been in the digital space for the past 6-7 years as well, we could see how everything has just changed. So what COVID did is just, it reinforced some of the principles and values that we had already started practicing way before. Of course, now, because we couldn't get out of the house and go places, see relatives, see family members, do business meetings. I'm an extrovert, so being kept in one space for me was a bit too much. I had to find spaces of sneaking out and going for a drive here or there. So as an extrovert, but what it did for us is just, it reinforced that, we were on the right track. We were just talking to Paul and Mary before, during the break, and we were telling them how last year when we were working from home, it seemed so weird, and we looked like we felt like we were losers, because where we used to live, everybody used to go to work. We would drop our child in school and come back home and work from home. And when you meet people and you talk to them, oh no, we just work from home and stuff, you look like a loser, because them, they're out there going to hunt, to gather and hunt and dragons. And us, we are slaying dragons in our home, minute dragons in our home. And so, I mean, when this whole pandemic came through, everybody started now turning to us and asking us, how have you been doing it? How do you do it? How have you been working from home? Are you still thinking of doing homeschooling and stuff like that? So for us, it has given us more ideas. It gave us even more creative ideas to execute in terms of just entertaining people during this period. And from my perspective, that's what really COVID brought for us guys.
Okay, Rogoro and David Sijenyi, what has this season brought forth?
Well, I think this season has helped us understand each other better and what our strengths are with regard to work and even in the home. I know because I left the home a lot, I didn't appreciate just how much is required to be done in the home. And so for me, I think this season really opened my eyes to Rogoro's strengths, but also it really brought us close into finding how the jigsaw fits. So I realized I'm more the getter, to use George's words, I'm more the hunter. Let's go out there, find the biashara. But she then gets the work done. And this has been really a helpful time in helping us grow in that space. So I'll go find the work. She'll just keeping the structures more like the managing, the running, ensuring everyone is doing what they should be doing. And I've really grown to appreciate that in this season. I don't know what that has been.
Rogoro?
I think what he said is exactly true. I've also appreciated just how many meetings he has in a day. Like when COVID started, and I'm not even kidding, when COVID started, he would be in meetings from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the office. At some point, the kids are like, he's around, but he's not, like he's home, but he's not home. Of course, as it has, we've now found a balance so that there's a little more time out of the office, quote unquote. But like the Cowboys, I stopped working from an office about 4 years ago. And so, people are just, it was, you felt like when you go to a meeting and people ask you, where is your office? And you say, well, I run a home office. Like you're a briefcase kind of person. Now, who's laughing now?
Yeah, I hear you guys. I hear you. And Grace, what I love about the experiences I'm hearing is that in this moment of crisis, these couples have actually found a silver lining in themselves. Talk about crisis management in relationships.
Oh yeah, this is one of the things that that we need to really equip our couples to deal with. A lot of times we get into crisis and we get stuck. What we need to understand, that stuckness is a grief process. What happens is that something has changed. I wasn't expecting it to happen, and so I get stuck in the shock of it, and I get myself into the anger space where I'm angry about this change. Now I'm not able to do, and I get paralyzed by that anger, and I begin to even bargain about I start to romanticize about yesterday, but yesterday is gone. We are in a new space. And so I need to grieve this. I need to go into that depressed mode, but I need to get out of it, accept this is what it is, and begin to adjust and to advance. So the adjustment is where I'm saying, okay, it's gone. It's no longer there. I have to work from home. I cannot go to work anymore. So what is the new strategy? So I move from the grief, which is what paralyzes us, and then I become cognizant of the fact that I have no control. A lot of us, Gladys, is that as human beings, we want to have control. We want to know that things are going to be okay. It's all right. However, we do also have the capability to bounce back. So go through the grief, but bounce back quickly. Remember that the first thing you go through when you are in a crisis mode, you go through a process of grief. And the process of grief is not complete until you learn how to adjust to the new normal. So accept it the way it is. Let's not fight with Corona. Corona is here to stay. I remember the other day, about a month ago, I was talking to somebody, tutaonana Corona, and she told me, Grace, are you still thinking that Corona is going away? So she said, we better adjust and figure out how we are going to get together so that we can be able to continue with life. We need to continue. So strategize now, accept the new normal, and start to strategize about what you need. So you need to ask yourself, what resources do I need in order to deal with this crisis? Do I need to talk to somebody to process it through? Am I too emotional that my brain is not able to move from the crisis mode into action plans and what needs to be happening, problem solving and decision making? Because that's what happens when the brain is flooded with the feelings of negativity, the feelings of fear, the feelings of anxiety. Then what happens? We are not able to create, and we are not able to manage what is right here before us. So that is how I would really encourage couples to work with crisis, is manage it by accepting it and then beginning immediately to start to problem solve and to look for the resources that you need.
And if you find yourself going at each other?
Well, seek outside help. That's what I'm talking about now resources. Yes. So if you cannot agree, then look for a professional. Now we have so many counselors. Look for a professional and say, hey, it doesn't mean that you can't fix the problem. It means that you do need, we are a community, that you need a resource outside of yourself so that you can be able to see it in an objective way. At that point, you are too flooded with emotions to be able to be objective. That is the way the brain works. And if you can't push your brain to go to the space of objectivity, it's time to call another person to come and help you guys. And you know what? It doesn't take long. You know why couples are going into divorce? It's because they waited too long to deal with things that they could have dealt with in the beginning.
Very well said.
Yeah.
As we understand couples who work together. We take another short break on Your World. We'll be back.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Jack Tulliver is no ordinary thief.
Captain Jack Tulliver, disgraced Delta Force Commando.
Very good. He's got one last score.
I sure hope you have big pockets.
To leave the game for good.
We're about to be $20 million richer.
He's assembled the perfect team.
This place is smoking up, baby.
For the ultimate heist. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Let's go.
But in 7 seconds,
We'll be hit.
everything did. 7 seconds.
Vina vegetable oil stays liquid to the last drop, so it's smooth cooking from start to finish. Now with an easy-to-pour cap. Mapishi poa, madishi poa.
Along came Love.
It looks like Lushan is sticking her nose into things that are none of her business.
This isn't the right time.
He was always after me and everything was just going great until Marta got in the way, just as she did with your father.
If there's anything that concerns my children, you have to tell me about it. Do you understand?
Excuse me for interfering, but if Luciana didn't...
But still, she doesn't have any right to keep from me anything that has to do with my children.
Yes, but...
I don't even want to think about how much trouble she's in.
Luciana, the fact that I can't be with you doesn't mean that I can just forget everything I feel for you.
Are you all right, Madam Lillian? Is anything wrong? It's nothing you can fix. Nobody has the cure for love problems.
Along came love.
In association with Blue Band Peanut Butter.
It's time to kickstart your smart and give your brain a mega boost with DSTV. There's oodles of mind-blowing channels for kids young all together now. To get your knowledge workout, get connected to DSTV.
It is your world. My name is Gladys Gashanja, as we understand couples that work together and the intricacies of the same. And we now introduce a couple joining us all the way from Uganda. That is Matthew and Eleanor Nabuiso. Thank you for joining us. I know you're not in the same space, but you are married. At least that one is certified and proven.
Yeah, we are still married.
Okay. All right. I'll start
It's just my day off today.
I see. Thank you for making time either way. Now, I'll start off with you, Matthew. Married and
Yes.
in the creative industry, you guys are actors and actresses, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so how has this pandemic season been for you, considering the constraints that have come with the season?
I think to me or to us as a couple and as a film production house, maybe just to give you more introduction, besides us being actors and actresses, we run a film production house called Nabuiso Films, which we both co-own. So for us, this pandemic has been more of a blessing than a problem, because we have actually had a lot more business come in during this pandemic than even before. Because as filmmakers, we not only stop at just making feature films or series, but we also do a lot of documentary work. We do a lot of television ads. So when it comes to, and we do work a lot with NGOs and the health sector. So during this pandemic, we've actually had a lot more work to do for these people in the health sector.
Okay, and that's a silver lining for you. Now, on a usual, how do you separate the fact that you're married and there is also the business angle of things?
I think what we have learned is to be professional. When we are at work, I mean, we are at work. And if I am director, because what we do as a production house, the way we started off is I started off as a producer, and she is the creative director. So everybody does their roles in their space. I know we used to have a bit of a challenge in the beginning, because I, as producer, would come on set and tell her, excuse me, Madam Director, I don't think I agree with those shows. I don't think I agree with that. And we would have like, we would struggle. No, let me, until she would go like, Matthew, can you let me direct? I'd be like, okay, all right, okay, you do your thing. And I think I kind of learned that, okay, when she is doing her job, I let her do hers. If I have a comment to make, when we get back home in the evening, I'll comment and say, I didn't kind of sit well with this. What do you think? Then we actually have a good discussion about it. And yeah, we keep it professional at work. If we have personal differences, we settle them at home.
Let's hear from the wife. Eleanor, is that your perspective?
Yes, it is actually, because I think we kind of decided that when we leave the house, now it's professional. We are colleagues. Even in the meetings, we introduce ourselves as colleagues. And when we are home, it's husband and wife. So we kind of keep it professional and we keep out of each other's spaces so we can get to work.
Okay, and if you own the same company, you do the same work, how do you keep each other out of each other's spaces?
See, we kind of, yes, we co-own the company, but we have like different roles in the company as well. Yes, we're both directors and CEOs or whatever. But then when we get to set, he's either producer, I'm director, he's either director or I'm producer. So we kind of have a protocol observed kind of rule. You do your thing, I'll do my thing and keep out of my space. If we have to get together, it could be over lunch or tea break or when you're going home in the car.
Now, there are some matters that need urgent, urgent meetings about or discussions about. How do you handle that?
It can be like urgent if we're both working on set.
Eleanor, I'm talking about like you're on set, you're working on set, something needs to be discussed, you can't wait until you get home. How do you now criticize your partner?
If it's not going to affect his workspace as director, then I'll say, excuse me, it's kind of urgent, we need to talk. And then we'll actually step off and then go discuss it until we're done with it. If it's not too urgent and I know it's going to disorganize him at work, then I'll wait until work is done. Then we can kind of meet on our way home or something. But if it's really, really urgent, we step away and talk about it and get done with it.
And for you, Matthew, as a guy, and of course there's an ego involved, you've been criticized and she has put her foot down about something and you don't like it. How do you handle it?
I think I've learned as a person to be calm and understand people. So even if it wasn't my wife, even if it was somebody else, but I've learned to be calm in situations like that. So I calm down, I cool off, and then I find the appropriate time to address it. Because you see, if you just go throwing tempers in the moment, you might say something that you will forever regret. So I try to control myself as much as possible and do it the right way at the right time.
And I think this is a question I need to throw to the other couples. Georgia and Karemi, you are human beings and there are times where the other person just, steps on your toe a different way. How do you handle that?
Well, like you said, we are human beings and sometimes something he says will rub me the wrong way. But whenever we're doing content together, I've learned to actually use that emotion and use it in like the video that we're doing. Like for example, the series that we've been doing for 1 year versus 7 years of marriage.
Yes.
There are times I'm really angry with him, and using that emotion is an outlet because I use it as an outlet and it comes out in the video. And actually, those are usually the best videos when I'm upset. But like the other couple have just said, we talk about it later, because I've also learned that we need to get the work done. We need to finish the task. We can have the conversations afterwards. But yes, that's what we do. But but if we are not shooting the content, I usually tell him he's learned to respect the fact that I need to take a break. I need to breathe, go and deal with my emotions in the corner, and then now we can sit down and discuss. Yeah.
Okay, and your perspective?
Yeah, my perspective is the same, only that, like every couple will attest to, conflict sometimes is good. I look at conflict as a nice stepping stone to the next floor, the next floor of a new dimension or something like that. So what we normally do is whenever we come to a place where there is conflict, we take that, like Karemi said, I usually take that as a space to be able to come up with an idea. And, that's why our series 1 year versus 7 year couples, really hit off for couples, because, every couple saw it there, like, this conflict, let's reflect it, let's use it as an idea. Then, of course, later on now, as the man, you have to now find a way of either buying her a gift if you're the one who wronged her, or even if she's the one who wronged you, you'll buy her a gift. You still buy a gift, and you find a way of how you can be able to now, bring peace to the home.
Okay, and speaking of which, Rogoro and David, how do you deal with conflict? Because there are those times where it's become too much. Now you're feeling, I am mad, something needs to give and not me.
Well, the truth is that David is better at this than I am. I quietly sit and figure it out myself. Him is the one who comes and says, I didn't like the way we should have. And so at that point, we end up getting the hang of it. But if it's bad enough, then, eventually I get around to having the discussion. But I find that he's actually a lot better at we should have probably discussed it like this, was it me or did I see something there? So at that point, then we discuss, get over and done with it, and then move on to the next thing.
So Jenny, do you believe in this whole thing of time out, let's go think about it, we'll come back when we are calm? Mama, for you, it needs to happen now?
Gladys, actually what Rogoro is talking about is a very recent development. I would be the one stewing over it, wondering, is this the best way to approach it? Is this the best time? But I realized over time that if I don't deal with it, then it's going to be a problem in future. And it's because I would be having this thing that's eating me up, and she has no idea that it even offended me. And so I've learned to bring it out softly and bring it out immediately so that then we deal with it. Of course, again, being, like Grace was saying, emotionally intelligent enough to weigh the times and the options and how to really bring it around. But I've actually had to learn to face the issues, because I'm the guy for, you know what, if you don't raise it, then don't ever raise it. Go die with it somewhere in a corner. But I've had to come to that point of, okay, let's deal with it, let's fix it, while it is still fixable, because there may be a time when it's,
And Grace, how and why is it important to know how to deal with the issue vis-a-vis the person?
Right. Now, what George said is very important, that conflict is an opportunity, but most of us see conflict as a bad thing that we need to get rid of. So because we grew up, the way that we were socialized is that conflict was bad because people argued and they didn't resolve. We didn't see them resolve. So we all, as children, we grew up thinking arguing is wrong. When we don't agree with each other, that's not a good thing. Fighting is bad. So we never saw how conflict can be an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for opening other doors we were not aware of. And so conflict management is very important, and that's why we say conflict is good and resolved conflict is what is bad. As David is talking about, stewing over things, overthinking. For melancholics and phlegmatics, we are really bad at that. So we do the whole thing in our head, and then we conclude this other person will not understand, so we keep it. We don't, because we are avoiders. We will avoid conflict. When it comes to the sanguine and the cholerics, they want to deal with it there and there, and once it's done, it's done. They don't remember it. You come back and they are thinking what? They are not remembering it. And then the sanguine is the person who doesn't go deep. They really just, glide over it. And so they will sort it out in their head and they will find something else to go to. So conflict management is very important for couples, especially if you're working in business, to learn how to stay in your adult space. Because when we have conflicts, we either go to the parent state, where we are either pointing fingers at ourselves or at the other person, or we are going into the child state, where we are feeling helpless and vulnerable and victimized. And so we are whining and we are throwing temper tantrums and we are doing silent treatment. So we want to come to the adult. The adult answering of this situation is where we are objective and we are more rational about what's going on. That's why the time out is very good, but you can't have time out if you don't understand what's going on within you and you don't accept it. So it's very important for us to kind of understand that, and also realize that when we are so triggered, when we are aroused in that way, it's not the time to deal with it. Now, I will say this: if you are a melancholic phleg and something is going on set, and your husband is saying, no, we can't deal with that right now, we have a job here to do, you need to also create a way of you upping the strength, that mental strength, emotional skin to deal with your emotions, so that you're not always carried away by, I feel it, I have to deal with it right now. You can learn how to rise above it, and so that you can focus on the task. Now, the choleric person who is saying task, emotions later, then they need, their obligation is after we have done the task, I need to be interested in what was going on then, and be able to say, hey, Han, come over here, take a break, tell me what was going on. And then we can repair as time is going on. And we will create that environment of safety, emotional safety, so I don't have to hide or run away from you or fight you all the time.
Okay, back to a Ugandan couple. Matthew, when it comes to conflict, which are you? Which personality are you?
I think, what can I say? I think it's not just about me alone anymore. I think I and my wife have learned, agreed that we are in this marriage for life. So we have no other choice but to resolve our conflicts. And it's the same way we run our business. We know we are going to do this for life. So we have no room for, I am quitting. Whatever, the only choice we have is to resolve whatever is at the table, and we continue, and that's how we've been able to grow each day.
Okay, Eleanor, I'm sure it hasn't always been roses. I mean, there were rough waters when you were starting off. How was that period for you when you decided to go at this business together?
For me, it was more of a panic mode, honestly, because Matthew quit his day job, and every wife would go like, what were you thinking? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this one day at a time. And he said, you know what? It's always been our dream. We've got so many fans out there who kept asking us, where can we find your work? Where can we find you guys now that the hostel is done? If any of you remember the hostel back then. And we're thinking, okay, we've been on set for over 300 episodes. We've learned how to direct, how to produce. We know all the nitty-gritties about production. So why don't we just do our own company? And as a wife, I remember saying, okay, if we're not working, both of us, and we haven't started earning as our own personal company, what are we going to do? How about the kids? I was panicking so much. And he's like, listen, God is in control. We'll do this together. And I said, okay, let's start. And each day that came by was harder and harder. And then things fell in place, because then we got so much business coming in. We had different angles on how to approach the business world in the film industry. And since then, we've never turned back. So we've kind of embraced the space as filmmakers together, and yeah, we're coping.
Okay, Matthew, the finances of it, I mean, there are good days, there are bad days. Somebody would say going into it together as a couple is equivalent to putting all your eggs in one basket. Is this something that was a concern when you're starting off, and how do you avert this, or how have you set yourself up to avert if this ever happened?
I think it was a concern, though I think it was more on my wife's side, because I think she was very, very concerned. But I am a man who has a lot of faith. And when I decided to do this, I said, I am crossing the bridge and I'm burning it behind me. So I either make it or I die in it. So there was no turning back. And I think that is what has enabled us to get the far we are.
Now, Eleanor, listening to Matthew, we talked earlier on about having a difference in opinion, letting the guy do his thing, watching him fail, and still supporting him. Do you have those moments where you literally have to bite your tongue?
Oh, yes. Oh,
I would
yes.
have loved
These
to say
moments
that
keep
for
coming
her.
in.
Okay, and what have the experiences
Honestly, there are
been?
times... There are times when you're home seated and you're very sure that we're just starting and I need to do so much. I need to do my hair, I need to do my nails, I have a girlfriend's party to go to. And at this moment, you're counting your income. And then he's like, oh, I didn't hit the goal today. I know we're just starting, but things will get better. And you're thinking, if I speak right now, I might say something very bad to my husband. So let me be supportive of this dream and just keep saying, honey, we'll make it through. But deep down, you're like,
You promised me it was going to be okay. Look at us now. Matthew, what's your
Yes.
perspective?
I could say our very first year, because we started our company in 2016, and I left my job in around October 2016. So the whole of 2017 was hard because we didn't have a single income. Yet we had house rent, we had children to feed, we had tuition to pay for, we had bills to pay for. It was a very, very hard year. And I remember many times my wife always told me, okay, why don't you first put this dream on a pause and go get another day job? And I said, I've been doing day jobs for years and they've never, look where we are. I have nothing to show for it. So I actually got to a point where I told her, you know what, my wife, let this be no point of discussion ever again. We are not discussing this ever again. We are done. Okay. One time I had to tell her that if you think this is not going to work, you may consider going to chill with mommy for a couple of months. Then when I'm settled, you'll come back. Yeah, but she didn't go. She didn't go to mommy. She stayed. She stayed, and yeah, guess what? It all worked out.
Okay. Earlier we mentioned the importance of having a good support system, an outlet.
Yeah.
For you, Eleanor, those times where you were seeing things are not working out, he promised you it's not working out, did you go, plugging into those relationships to help you along?
Not really. For some reason, we're more best friends before husband and wife. And that's honestly helped us through so much because we would kind of forget where we are and just keep talking to each other. Matthew is such a comforting person, an encouraging person. He knows how to talk and encourage somebody with, life situations. So we'd always sit and reflect every day and talk about our future and the picture we see ahead. And I must say, Matthew painted such a perfect picture ahead. So I kind of sat into it. And even up to now, we talk so much together. We encourage each other, talk about the future, our plans, our goals, our vision. So it kind of keeps, reflecting back in my mind that, okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. I think the most I've gone out to seek help for is maybe my mother. And it's only about maybe cooking tips because she's a better cook.
Okay, I hear you. George and Karemi Kagwe, have you had instances where you've had to call the wazes, whether it's in your age group or somebody somewhere to help intervene?
Well, I wouldn't say we have had such a moment per se. But we've had moments where we've really had to call the wazes within us to really talk about issues that have come out, any conflict that has really caused a huge strife and huge friction. If one I can remember, I think it was just when we had started doing a certain character, scholar, a lady character, and I remember I used to have so many ideas. And I used to always want to execute them in one go. And my wife here was going through a certain phase and a certain moment at that very particular point in time. And I just had to create a kind of like a date, a work date, where we went and I really just poured out my heart. And I really told her, I'm not happy with how we are working together. We are not working as a team. She's pulling us down. And I found it was different because other times I used to just cause mayhem. You're not the one. You're not for this team. I'm the one for this team. I've been working together. It was a huge fight all the time. And so that's a moment that I saw that, I just had to create a different approach. I don't think we've ever had a moment where we've had to call the wazes and people to meet.
Karemi, they say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And this rings true, especially for couples too. Do you have those that actually support you, or did you have many that asked you, what are you thinking? How can you be going to business together?
No, thankfully, no. I mean, we've learned to keep the kind of friends who are like-minded, like us, who understand our journey and who understand the struggles and so we haven't had people who thought what we were doing was strange, at least not close to us. If they were, then maybe none of them have ever told us. So because it's very important to have sounding boards, or people who are like-minded and people who have what's the word? I mean, who won't tell you to leave him. I mean, just leave him. Kwani, go get somebody else with more money and things like that. We have people with the same values who will possibly even pray with us or, try and help us to think through the emotions that I'm going through, things like that. So no, we haven't had, we have level-minded sounding boards. That's how I would respond.
Speaking of sounding boards, Rogoro and Sijenyi, who is your sounding board, and has this played a huge role and a positive one at it in your life?
Fortunately for us, we had a marriage enrichment group from when we first got married. So we've always been a part of that, and we meet once a month. We've met once a month for the last, I think, 8 or so years. And so that really helps to be able to have people, like-minded people who we can talk to. And in that group, we have everyone. We have couples that are both employed. We have couples that are both in business. We have couples that are one and one. So that really helps to also just share ideas and to just be able to support each other in the situation.
Sijenyi, has it ever gotten to a point where things are thick, wazee waitwe?
You remember I'm the internal thinker, eh?
Yes.
Deal with it, stew. And so there were many times when I found time to just talk to someone, and I wouldn't even tell them what it was I was asking about. I would just create a situation. I've always been the guy for painting scenario pictures. So I'd paint a scenario picture to someone, asking for a friend. And so between reading books and just learning from everything else that's happening around me, other people's stories, for example, watching a show like this, I would reach out to some friends, some people I respect, some men that I've seen run successful businesses, and I'm just here. So pick all these things and try and use what is useful. Again, sometimes when you're reaching out for support, not everything that comes your way is useful. Yeah. So pick what's useful and then use that to then move forward. But I'm finding a lot more value in what Elena and Matthew are saying about just drawing on the friendship, that in the long run, the final decision is going to bear on both of us. And we then need to come to the table and discuss it.
And now Elena and Matthew, in retrospect, was getting married and working together a good idea in the first place for you guys?
Getting married,
I must say it's been the best idea ever.
Okay, let's start off with the lady.
All right. Oh, ladies first. Hi, Matthew. So for me, I feel like getting married and working together was the best idea ever because we find ourselves in the same space. We've learned to know our times. We've given family the best time and all the time they need. So we both know when it's, Matthew to go to work and when I'm supposed to be with the kids, when it's me to go to work and Matthew to be with the kids, and when it's supposed to be the two of us together with the kids. We all have that time given to each other, and also just having time as Matthew and I as a couple. So we've kind of, I think working together has been the best solution ever because we never have to answer to time differences, to space differences, schedule differences. We know what each one is up to. We share finances, we share everything from the accounts to information that runs throughout the day. So we've kind of grown even more closer working together.
Okay, Matthew?
Yeah, I can only agree more. Being together, the more we are together, the more we are closer. We are each other's best friends. She's the person I ask for advice. I'm the person she asks for advice. We've kind of not left room for other people to tell us what to do. So it's all about ourselves, and I think it has helped our marriage and our business grow even closer because we're always together. And the good thing is that we are friends. We didn't get married just because we wanted to have a partner. We got married because we were friends. I felt like she could compliment me every other day. I'm much older than her, and she can always bring out the kid in me. And I think that is something that really complements us. And so we've not had a problem a single day being married and working together. It's beautiful. It's lovely. We just can't wait for our children to join the business. Personally, I think I was inspired a lot by the Asians, because like even in Uganda today, the biggest businesses that have survived the longest are family businesses for Asians. I think Ugandans have not believed in this much, but I've seen it work for the Asians, and I think I see it working for us already. I think many, many people need to copy a leaf and believe that working together as a couple, having a family business is a great idea, and it's the future.
Okay. Interestingly said, because when we started off, the first question was, is it a good idea? And you said no.
Right.
But with the right parameters, it's actually
Yes.
doable. And we've seen that in the couples we've talked to. Now, to start with, before I even give you a chance to give your closing remarks, I'm told we have a question to Grace. We have Simels Lempaka, who says, please talk more about the phlegmatic sanguine personality.
So the phlegmatic sanguine is the easygoing person, a person who is very nice to be with. They are calm, they are cool, they accommodate people. They listen very well, and the sanguine is the social part of the person who is a social butterfly. They love being with people. They love to laugh. They just love to have fun. So if you have a phlegmatic sanguine blend, then people find you to be a very easy person to reach out to talk to get deep with. However, the other side of it, the weaknesses that they may have, you may never really get to know what they really think about you, because they don't like to confront anything. So if you are looking for somebody to be able to tell you something that you need that will help you to grow, this is not the person to ask. They will have to have a higher level of, again, emotional intelligence to feel that it's okay, because they are out to make you feel comfortable, and for them to also feel comfortable.
All right, so even as we put this conversation to rest, it is imperative to be self-aware, even as you're walking into this journey of being married and working together, or being in a relationship and working together. What are your parting shots?
My parting shots are, you need to, first of all, have rules about what is agreeable and what is not agreeable. Then the roles have to be very clear and no micromanaging. If you have, and then it would be better if you do the roles according to the personality, the giftings and the talents of each other. So that now if one is gifted in leadership, that you allow them to do that leadership. If one is gifted in marketing and PR, then you let them do that, but don't step into each other's roles. Let everybody, I think one of the couples talked about that one of the things they learned very early is to just stay within your lane and let the other person come looking for your support or your help. Or if you see something they can do different, that you do it in an influential way, not demanding. You know, that there is a lot of respect, but also a lot of esteem that you give each other. That I believe in you, you can do this, I'll be right here if you need me. And then also the idea of looking at a situation and not making it a crisis. If it is not, nobody is dying, it's okay, let the flow go, and you always remember that you always have the ability to solve the problem if it gets there, because you have to think about always, couples in business together, they always have to think about the marriage. At the end of the day, this is the marriage. The business can fail, but the marriage cannot fail, because we have kids, we have built this thing, and so we always need to protect, no matter what's going on in the business, we always need, our priority is to protect the relationship.
Okay, very well said. That is Grace Kariuki, psychologist and a family therapist. The couples this morning, George and Karemi Kagwe, who are content creators, Paul and Mary Gitari, who joined us earlier, PR practitioners, David and Rugoro Sijenyi, training and coaching, and Matthew and Elena Nabuso, who actually are in the film industry. And we thank you all for being so candid and joining us on this conversation. And I'm told you're still talking to us on that hashtag New Normal. Even as we understand, if this is a leap you would take as a person working with your intimate partner, Nyakwar says, it's awesome though, zero entanglement since no pseudo workshops. I have no idea what that means, but hey. Kahora Wainana says, when a business is started by a wife, the theory is that it is hers. When a husband starts one, it is a family business and the wife co-owns. Mostly men are frustrated along the way and would rather walk away to start their own. That's Kahora's comment. Megatron says, it's awesome because you have a partner who you can always count on. We hear you. Dagi says, yeah, because he or she is faithful. Well, thank you for talking to us. And tomorrow we shall be focusing on the state of maternal health in the country in the face of a pandemic. Has a pandemic eaten at the gains made in safeguarding maternal and infant health? We answer this and other questions from 7 a.m. tomorrow. See you then.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Dr. Rabbit, is that you?
Yes, it is!
Wow.
I see you're all ready for bed.
I'm supposed to brush my teeth.
That's right! You're really becoming a brushing pro.
Thanks. I have a good teacher.
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam that we should keep cleanliness. Actually, he said that cleanliness is what is best for a Muslim. And from him, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, hand washing, which is part of cleanliness, hand washing, that we wash our hands, we wash our faces, we wash every time with soap. This is part of what the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam taught us.
You have been chosen to come here because you are the best journalism students in Kenya.
If your content is not interesting to look at, don't waste my time.
You submitted your work late. Why?
Each and everything that we used had problem.
No excuses in the